One Sunday in 2013, Brent Colvin, an experienced caver, went inside Thunder Canyon Cave near San Diego. What started as a daring exploration through cascading waterfalls and icy passages quickly turned into chaos when Brent became trapped in a narrow 8.5-inch fissure. Hours ticked by in the suffocating darkness as his strength faded and rescue seemed impossible. At one point, he even asked to have his ribs broken if it meant escaping. Was this to be the end of Brent's journey? Or could he defy the odds in a battle against time and nature? Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe for more chilling stories of survival and tragedy. Let us know in the comments if there's a story you'd like us to explore. This is the harrowing story of Brent Colvin's fight for survival. Brent Colvin and 7 other adventurers set off on an unforgettable journey through the rugged desert near San Diego one Sunday in 2013. Brent, a seasoned caver known for his adventurous spirit, was eager to explore the infamous Thunder Canyon Cave, a breathtaking and dangerous location. Thunder Canyon Cave is a natural wonder with a reputation for testing even the most experienced explorers. Its entrance alone is a challenge, a 30-foot drop through a waterfall that gushes down into the darkness below. To attempt it, the group needed to gear up in wetsuits, ready to face the cold, unforgiving waters and slippery rocks. Worse still, for 2 long hours, they trekked across the harsh desert terrain before reaching the cave's entrance. By the time they reached, the sun was high in the sky, and the sound of the waterfall echoed faintly in the distance. Without hesitation, they prepared for their descent. One by one, they abseiled through the roaring waterfall, the icy water drenching their suits as they carefully lowered themselves down. It was 11 a.m. by the time all 8 were inside, standing at the threshold of an underground world few had seen. For Brent, this was more than just another adventure. Thunder Canyon Cave was a place he had long dreamed of conquering, but little did he know, this journey would push him to his limits in ways he never imagined. Once inside Thunder Canyon Cave, led by Luca, an experienced guide, the group faced immediate challenges. Crawling on hands and knees, scaling slippery rocks, and chimneying through vertical cracks. Brent was already feeling the strain of hours spent in the cold, wet environment, but he didn't want to stop yet. After 4 hours of relentless effort, the group reached the terrible traverse, a notorious section where the cave narrows into a sharp right-angle turn, leading to a crack just under 9 inches wide. For even the most skilled cavers, it was a daunting obstacle. Brent, having never made it this far before, was determined to take on the challenge despite his fatigue. But the terrible traverse was unforgiving. As the group carefully maneuvered through the fissure, disaster struck. Steve, one of the newer members of the group, found himself stuck in a tight crevice. The narrow passage proved too much for him as his body wedged tightly in the rock. Panic set in as he struggled to free himself. The group sprang into action. Adrenaline coursed through them as they pulled, pushed, and worked together to unjam Steve. Finally, with one last effort, Steve was freed after a few minutes of struggle. But the ordeal had taken its toll. Shaken, exhausted, and visibly rattled, he made it clear that he couldn't continue. Recognizing Steve's condition, Luca decided to escort him out of the cave. It was a logical choice, but one that would soon have unforeseen consequences. As Steve and Luca began their exit, the rest of the group prepared to push forward, unaware of the challenges still to come. Unfortunately, Luca had assumed that Brent had already navigated the terrible traverse before, but this was his first time. Standing at the narrow, jagged crack, Brent felt a mix of hesitation and determination. The challenge was clear: move feet first through the tight 8.5-inch wide opening, angling his body sideways, and shimmy along the length of the fissure before dropping 5 feet into the next chamber. It was a maneuver that required precision, strength, and a calm mind. He took a deep breath, steadied himself, and attempted the crossing. But the crack proved far more challenging than he had anticipated. His movements felt restricted, the walls pressing against him with unrelenting force. Sweat trickled down his face as he tried to adjust, but progress was slow and painstaking. Realizing he couldn't make it through with his wetsuit on, Brent made the difficult decision to back out and strip down to just his t-shirt. The cold of the cave bit into his skin as he attempted to maneuver again, but this time something went wrong. His hips became wedged, his feet poking out on the other side while his torso and arms remained trapped in the crack. At that moment, Brent realized the gravity of the situation. What started as an exhilarating adventure was now a desperate struggle for freedom. The others quickly gathered around, trying to help, but Brent was stuck, unable to move forward or back. The terrible traverse had become a prison, and Brent's journey was far from over. Every attempt to free himself only made things worse. His left arm supported his body, his feet stuck out on the other side, but the rest of him was hopelessly jammed. The minutes dragged on, feeling like hours. The team tried everything they could think of, pulling, pushing, and shouting words of encouragement, but Brent wouldn't budge. His arm began to weaken under the strain, and soon gravity forced him further into the crack, where the gap was even tighter. Time seemed to slow as Brent's world shrank to the confines of the narrow passage. The darkness pressed in, broken only by the faint beam of Jim's headlamp behind him. Jim, who was now trapped as well, tried to keep Brent's spirits up, telling stories and offering words of reassurance, but the reality was grim. The cold began to take its toll. As Brent's body heat drained away, the team did what they could to shield him from hypothermia. He was told to keep moving to maintain circulation, but his movements were restricted to small gestures. 7 hours later, Brent faced the very real possibility that he might not make it out alive. Thoughts of his wife Raina and their life together filled his mind. The image of their home and the ancient oak tree they'd married under haunted him. Yet even in the face of despair, Brent clung to one truth: he wasn't ready to give up. The silence of Thunder Canyon Cave was soon broken by the distant thrum of a helicopter. The helicopter crew faced immense challenges, from navigating the rugged terrain to finding a safe landing spot. Hours stretched into an eternity as rescuers coordinated their efforts. Brent, exhausted and delirious after 9 hours of entrapment, clung to his will to survive. Time was critical, but so was Brent's safety. The team worked tirelessly, jacking up a wooden plank near his head to adjust the angle of his body. They tried to carefully pull his feet free, but each attempt brought excruciating pain as the walls pressed tighter against him. Despite the agony, Brent's resolve remained unbroken. When asked if they should stop, his desperate reply was resolute. "Keep going. I don't care if you break my ribs, just get me out," he said. With one final coordinated effort, the team managed to free Brent from the crevice. At 3:45 a.m., nearly 17 hours after the group had entered the cave, Brent was airlifted off the hillside by helicopter and rushed to medical care. His injuries were minimal, scrapes and bruises, but the emotional toll was immeasurable. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more like this on Truly Tragic. See you on the next one.